Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles! In the last episode, we finished the first part of the trial of the last adventure of the first game, and now we are in the second part. We had a huge summation examination and we went through it with the help of stereoscopic view. If you haven't watched it, just turn back and see what that episode has to offer. But now we are going to straight ahead into this trial. So let's begin. Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination.
Oh yeah, Governor.
I did, Gov. I did.
Mr. Skulkin.
Cool.
Blimey!
This is going to be hard work. Early in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windy Banks.
Well, it was bedlam soon, weren't it?
It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out my Lucy lockets.
However, that was a lie. You brothers.
Cool. Blimey!
In the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter.
We never did nothing of the sort.
How'd you figure that out?
You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time, you will tell the truth.
Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of the day again. I thought worth pondering, perhaps.
Say no more, Gov. We hear you.
We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach.
Witness testimony. Illegal entry, the whole truth.
Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing.
It was when we heard the gunshots, see? Made us both jump, and all that stuff went flying.
Lummy didn't half give me a fright. We was thinking the chute would come out the door and get us nixed.
We stuck everything back where we found it and scarpered straight into him in the back.
We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we?
So you admit to the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windybank's countertop on the night in question.
Not ransack, Governor, no.
That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tidied up, yeah. Sorry.
By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their miss.
The way you said, we hardly sound like roughs at all.
We don't, Nash, we don't. Can't he make us sound a bit more cutthroat?
It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windybanks that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. That is why we are going to cross-examine. Alright, let's go.
Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing.
Yeah, sure, let's press. If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place?
Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we?
We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we had admitted to something like that, people would think we was up to no good.
Well said, Ringo, me old China. We'd only land ourselves in even more trouble.
And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourself even more in trouble.
That's rotten luck,
says the rotten apple eater.
Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter?
We never ransacked nothing.
right, Nash? Right. More like we tidied up the place.
Sorry.
It was when we heard the gunshots. He made us both jump and all that stuff went flying.
Hold it! So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much you knocked all those things off the counter?
Well, it shook one of us that much, yeah. This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on.
Look, it was louder, right, Blimey? Me dead granny would have woken up that bang.
Big Brother screamed like a blooming baby and fell over on the counter. It knocked over a load of books and candlesticks and some skull whatnot.
That got tangled in some marionette who knocked over a picture frame. What knocked them scales on the floor?
You've really mastered working quietly then.
What a racket! My granny would have been scared to enter a grave at a clatter like that.
So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise.
And then some. I mean, it was quiet as mouse and all of a sudden,
BAM! Okay, we have to pursue that. Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add?
Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels.
No, something to add about their testimony. They seem to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something?
It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it only. Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details.
How about you just tell us what's on your mind?
As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night. And the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now.
did it?
You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot.
Might have, doesn't...
Oops. Oh, I almost knocked over the mic. Sorry.
Might have, Gov, might have. Does ring a bell now you mention it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. I can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, fellas?
If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them.
Easy, easy.
We'll get it right this time.
That's it, yep. It's all coming back to me now.
Then speak! Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs.
Right, your gov.
Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!"
Hold it! So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously.
We did, Gov, we did.
Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we've heard a kind of a wavering voice before the yell and all.
If you don't want to get shot...
Give me that gun! Bam!
Kind of thing.
Korean acting tragically missed. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell?
Of course we could. From the other side of the door behind the counter it was.
From the storeroom where the victim was found dead.
And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Windybag.
On me granny's life. Of course it was.
On its granny's life. Of course it was.
So that would mean
that you both knew Mr. Windybank and the sound of his voice.
So that woman, what?
What, Nash? What? Any ideas?
Yes, Counsel. Indeed it would.
No, we didn't know this, Jesus.
Oh, I'm supposed to know when the bloke in all the fancy club has given us the evil eye.
If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true.
On me granny's life it is.
On his granny life, it must be.
It's a good job his granny's dead.
To summarize then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor.
You make it sound like we're clumsy.
Don't forget we tied it up after like good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it, the bloke what owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl.
Uh-huh.
Hold it!
You're saying that Mr. Windybank had a gun in his hand?
Oh yeah, that was a sight, huh? Them two waving them guns at each other. Must have got pretty to eat it. I mean, just before shouted out, we heard Jesus say, if you don't want to get shot.
Didn't really sound like he meant it, man. More of an empty threat, you could say.
Mr. Windybank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course.
Good grief, extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper.
Bet he wished he'd squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun!"
And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot.
It was more or less at the same time, good. Give me that gun!
Kind of thing.
Yes. Korean acting very tragically missed.
Then we heard the sound of something hitting the deck. Before everyone went dead quiet.
After that, we'd done a slapdash job, tidying the place up.
Lummy didn't off give me a fright. We was thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next.
Hold it!
So, you didn't try to open the storeroom door then?
Not on your life.
It went deathly quiet after that, it did. Put the wind right up me. But anyway, the door was locked, wasn't it? No way that was opening.
Yes, of course, it was locked from the inside, or so we've been led to believe.
It was God, it was! From the inside!
Right, so we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we?
Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole or a spy hole, perhaps?
Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights.
We had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that.
We're still cutting our teeth in this game, see? But one day, we really cut the mustard.
Please, cut it out.
But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body, with the accused not 2 feet away.
Yes, unfortunately. Gina wasn't there, unconscious, with a gun in her hand.
To confirm, would it be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom?
That's right, Gav, that's right.
Couldn't have even if we wanted to.
We stuck everything back where we found it and escaped it. Straight to him in black.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Yeah, we was a bit hasty there.
We wasn't, Ash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when your lot turned up.
If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand.
Good advice, miss. Good advice.
Truth be told, my mind went totally blank.
Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand.
Mental note made, miss.
After that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we looked dodgy on the coppers or something, so they clapped the derbies on us like winking.
And after you'd been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct?
Well, yeah.
But listen, that proves it, did it? We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we?
Oops. Oh, I didn't want to do that. That's it? That's the full extent of the testimony?
What's it? What is it, Bruno? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired.
Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh. But I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something important. There's nothing more than a feeling, though. I have no proof to support it.
Well, feelings can be very logical at times.
Sorry?
People's expressions, the movement of their eyes, the words they choose. You can take all that in your own brain and quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you described. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why. That's all. I think you should trust your instincts.
Iris, thank you. Sometimes I think if she's 10 years old, I must be 5. So the very last testimony, the very last text box is still to be pressed. Alright, so let's press then. And why should we believe that?
What? Well, 'cause it's true, ain't it?
The place was totally empty when we went in.
At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused, who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbrokery, Mr. Windyback. Correct.
You got it, mister.
Down to tea! So the Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windyback. Is that really true, I wonder? That's it? That's the full... Yeah, okay, we already had that, so we're going to skip that. So, they're still hiding something, blah, blah, blah. Iris is very cool. Indeed, she is. But before we present, I haven't yet... No, we haven't yet examined this gun of theirs. So there's ammunition still loaded in 5 of this revolver's 6 cylinders.
Yes, which tells us that only a single shot has been fired from it.
Exactly.
The bullet that hurt Hurley, in fact, isn't it?
Yes, it happened almost as soon as we walked in through Windybank's door.
I'll make those brothers pay.
Is there anything else of interest on this gun? So, only 1 shot has been fired from this gun. So there doesn't seem to be anything else of interest from this gun. Alright, so let's have a look. So, didn't knock a few things over, but we weren't riding for nothing. Just before the gunshot, just a second. Just before we heard the voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!" The bloke got out the place, so should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. So there is something that is weird because he doesn't have a gun in his hand. So I'm gonna present that here. So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Winnybag, was wielding a gun, is that correct?
That's it, Gov. You've got the picture.
Yes, Nash, yes, no question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Winnybag was not holding a firearm of any description. You what?
Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection! There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Winnybag's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accuser's hand.
Yeah, that Model 2 that used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun.
Kind of thing?
Hold it!
Stay exactly where you are, right there. If the crime had taken place as you've so colorfully described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out.
Goodness, are you sure, Consul?
You intrigue me, my learned friend. But let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments?
Okay, I'm a little clueless here because we already showed the photographic print. So it can't be this, it can't be this, can't be this. Can't be this. Let's have a look at this. Boarding party. No other visible signs of trauma. So it might be the post-mortem report. Wound to the heart. From the back. So it might be actually the autopsy report. So it's not the crime scene photograph. So just to be sure, this says instant death from a posterior bullet wound to the heart. The bullet entered the body from the back on a gently rising diagonal trajectory. So it must be this, and we're gonna present that.
Take that!
According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot.
Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe.
Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of the death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
No!
But it's the God's honest truth.
It is, Nash, it is! When he was shot that night, the shopkeeper had a gun in his hand.
And we saw it with our own bleeding eyes.
Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Winnybag holding a gun.
Something like that might have slipped out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question, they actually saw with their own eyes the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash,
Order, order, order! Witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, the thing is, we weren't supposed to,
It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness should be the death of you.
Am I to understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies? So sorry, Governor. Truth is, see,
cut it out, Nash, cut it out! If we blab now, you know what it'll do to us. He? Who are they talking about?
Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you.
Bruv, come on, the game's up.
But he'll ever got forgotten. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out.
On the night in question, it is now apparent that your brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place.
Well... Do we have to?
On pain of death, I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth.
Witness testimony. Encounter with the victim. Well, guys, we're pretty short to reach the half-hour mark, but we are very close. So I'm going to end this episode here. If you want to know what the encounter with the victim has in stock for us, you'll have to tune in next time when we once again play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
See you then.